Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So this video, I was actually kind of not sure if I was even going to make it or not. Indian released the new Chief this week, and it wasn't for lack of interest that I wasn't going to make the video, but I didn't really know what kind of commentary I wanted to include on this offering. I actually had a file folder with some other graphics I was making for some other videos, and that graphic is this units sold from Harley-Davidson. Since 2006, they're down about 60%. And the reason why I bring up Harley-Davidson sales is because I think that this Chief is just another example of a whole well-rounded approach of Indian motorcycles coming to take Harley-Davidson's lunch money. Now, I don't think they're quite there yet, but this Chief is... it's no joke. Right off the bat, looking at this Chief from the perspective of comparing it to, say, a Softail Standard, Street Bob, maybe Softail Slim, pretty much in that line of bike, $13,500 to $16,000 bike. The Chief has some offering there, and it's pretty interesting, and they have quite a few different variations of it, but for $14,499, it's a pretty solid offering. I think it's a killer-looking motorcycle. They were missing a real contender for shooting a target at the Softail line, and that's not true anymore. Obviously, now with this Chief, things have changed. This touch screen with Ride Command, I think, is a really, really awesome in comparison to Harley-Davidson's digital gauge that you get on the Street Bob. A lot of people are really against this little LCD screen that Harley has for a gauge cluster. I'm personally not a big fan either. If they were to make that like a TFT display, similar to what you have as far as what Indian's offering here, that would change my opinion on what that is a little bit. This touchscreen with Ride Command from Indian is the perfect mix of kind of classic round gauge with digital elements that when you start asking 16, this is 17,000 for the Chief Dark Horse, those types of premium things make a big difference. When you're looking at that bike in the showroom and you're deciding whether or not this is something you would like to purchase, those little things combined all become big things. Now, I am surprised that Indian did not go with a monoshock with what they have in their touring line being leaps and bounds ahead of Harley-Davidson. Now it's interesting that the Chief has this dual rear shock setup, and the Softail line from Harley is that monoshock, which, no shocker, is far superior than the dual rear shock. So I don't know if this is a play on trying to appeal now to like the Dynabro who appreciates that, I guess, exposed shock look. It almost seems to me like Indian kind of just said, hey, look there's a bunch of people on the Harley world that want their Dynas back. Let's give them a Softail competitor with the Chief that achieves a bit of that look, go with the classic styling. Indian really did a great job with this design, going with a very classic meets modern design. So it looks to me like Indian just, isn't going to crush the Softail line with this Chief, but certainly put out a solid contender. And when you start kind of looking at the bigger picture, the Challenger, which is, from what I understand, leaps and bounds ahead of Harley in engineering terms. The Chieftain, which I've ridden and I love. I think it's an amazing platform for a touring bike. There's a lot of people that love their Scouts, and now you have the Chief. It's just another thing that Indian is offering that is going to hurt Harley. It's solid. The reason why I wanted to do this video is because a lot of people asked me what I thought about it. So I'm sorry to anybody who came to this video thinking that I was going to compare spec sheets spec to spec, because they're pretty darn similar in my opinion. Lean angles and the rake, the wheelbase, it's very similar. And the pricing is really what it comes down to. In my opinion, it would be like the Chief versus the Street Bob. Yeah, you've got the 114 in the Street Bob, but you have a 111 in the Chief. So, I mean, you're really talking pretty similar power plants. A lot of it's going to come down to price. It's going to be 14.9 versus comparing 14.9. So two non-ABS bikes, same price, and it's going to become basically a battle of perceived value. And my biggest concern with Harley right now is that I know they're in a rebuilding phase. I respect that rebuilding phase. I wasn't super crazed on jumping on the bandwagon of crushing Harley-Davidson for their 2021 announcements because I wasn't expecting a lot. Anybody who was kind of in some sort of fantasy world. And at this point, to be honest with you, I mean, Harley's just in a position where they don't have a lot of time because Indian is playing their cards right. They're just kind of nibbling away at the edges. I think Harley still has the heart and soul of the country in terms of motorcycle sales, but Indian is, I mean, like a fungus, just eating away at the limbs, and eventually it's just going to overtake the entire body. If Harley doesn't do something soon, I think it's starting to get dire. I would say the Challenger was a massive swing for the fences from Indian, and it was overall very well received. I think the Chief is a little bit less of a significant in terms of like media or like a big drop product. However, it's arguably more relevant to the brand of Indian to have a more rounded portfolio than what the Challenger was. So it's kind of an interesting product to me. It's a sign of the competition that Indian is not slowing down. They are doing a very methodical approach at just slowly going after the king of motorcycles in terms of cruisers and touring bikes for the American or U.S. market. So it's fascinating. I love the Chief. I love what Indian is doing. Keep it up because it's only going to push Harley to be better. This is just kind of my overall view of the current landscape of motorcycles and Harley versus Indian and seeing these two different product lines. I really, really hope for the life of me and for the life of Harley-Davidson that 2022 has something big coming because I think they need to sort of just take the motorcycle market by the neck and shake it a little bit to reinvigorate their sales. And I think that the Pan America is going to be very important, but I don't think it's going to be that bike that redefines the entire brand of Harley. I think the re-engineering of a modern touring bike from Harley-Davidson is going to be what it takes to have them kind of reassert their dominance and just crush the marketplace. So hopefully they're working on that. Hopefully the Revolution Max is a part of that process. And, the performance bagger world that we're starting to get into with Battle of the Baggers and all of that stuff, that Harley-Davidson is looking at this opportunity to build a factory performance liquid-cooled bagger that just blows everybody's mind and crushes the Challenger, really just reassert that dominance. So that's kind of what I'm hoping right now. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.